Hi, good day. Welcome to CMS. Now we'll continue talking about the quantity surveying in CMS. Last time we complete all the quantity surveying related to the structure work, and now we'll start quantity surveying of the masonry work. To go for masonry work, it's direct in the page of the quantity surveying. When you click the masonry work, you will find two buttons, one for the opening schedule and one for the block work. For proper quantity surveying and estimation for the block work, it's better to insert in the beginning all the openings of the projects. So the step 1 here, we will start to insert all the openings of the project. For our project, as you see here in the page of the openings, it's divided for a timber work and aluminium work. This kind of divisions is required for the cost estimation in the next step. So in the first table, we'll add all the types of the opening with timber work, like the doors. The second portion will add all the openings related to the aluminium work. Commonly, it is the windows or the curtain walls in the building. For example, we will find each type of doors have a definition and code, and each type of windows have a definition also and code. All the required now is to insert each type with its related dimension, width and length, and also the quantity for each type, or either for the timber work or the aluminium work. Back to CMS, we insert all the types of the timber work. We insert the dimension, height and width for each type and the numbers of each type. CMS will give us the area for piece and the total area for each type. The same for the aluminium work, like windows or curtain walls or any other type. You will just insert the type and the dimension and the quantity according to the drawings. That's the first step, and it is a very easy action. The next step, as we saw in the masonry work page, is to go for the block work. Either we'll go by next or we'll go back by for quantity survey and go for masonry and choose block work, or we click only next. We'll find ourselves in the masonry work. That's the sheet of the masonry work. We'll find here the steps which we shall follow to insert all the requirements, and we'll find how to get all the outputs later. So the first step, insert the block type. When you click here, it will direct you to add the block types for your project. You have to insert here all the block types using in your project, like the solid block, if you have solid block, if you have hollow block, solid block with all dimensions, hollow block with all dimensions, if you have a light block or AAC block or thermal block or whatever the kind of the blocks, you have to add it here in the beginning. You have to add the blocks along with their size for each type of the block. So that's the first step. If you will use a ready mortar, we'll go for second step. He's asking you to insert the ready mix consumption. How many kilogram required for 1 meter, and give you 1 centimeter thickness. This will be mentioned in the datasheet of all the ready mix mortar, so you can easily take this number and put it here. This will help you in case of using a ready mix for block mortar. That means you have to choose the filling mortar type. Either it will be mix on site or it will be a ready mortar, which is the step 3. Choose the block type for substructure and superstructure, and the mortar type and the thickness of the mortar. That means you will choose the mortar type and also the thickness of your mortar. Here you will find the page is divided for substructure bricks, which is the block work required for the substructure work, and superstructure masonry work. By default, CMS will consider all the substructure masonry work related to the foundation and the strap beam shutters. You will just choose the type here which you required. When we was working in the foundation, let's go back for foundation. We choose shutter for the solid block. If we change this type for solid 15 cm and go back for the masonry work, we will find the quantity of the masonry work here coming for the solid block of 15. That's why we have to enter first the type of the masonry, of the type of the block related to the substructure work, before we go and choose it in the foundation. And according to our choice and our data inserted here in the masonry work for the substructure work, it will be considered as a shutters for the foundation, in case if we choose the block work as a shutter of the foundation and the strap beam. Furthermore, we will choose the type of the mortar, either it is ready mix or mix on site. This will help you later to calculate all the required mortar for the project, either it is a ready mortar or a mix on site mortar. CMS will consider this information to calculate all the required material for the cement and sand or black sand or water or whatever. All this will be considered by CMS. At the end, CMS will gather all those materials and information for more purpose related to the price for each activity, because as we said before, CMS will divide all the activity for all the basics items and all basics materials to calculate the cost, and also to give you a material takeoff. Therefore, you have to choose which type of mortar you will use. This also will help you to decide which type of the material you will use, because when you are changing the type of the mortar, the price will change. So you will decide either you will go for the normal way for the mixing on site material, or to purchase a ready mix according to the price or according to the total cost for each activity, as we'll see later. Here we'll find the area of the block which is required related to this substructure work, or related to the shutters of the foundation or strap beam. You can add here the margin which maybe took place in your project, according to workmanship and your site condition. Furthermore, if you have in the substructure any other kind of block like water tank shutter or boundary wall substructure block, you can add here the length of the block work and the height of this wall. And again, you will choose the mortar and the thickness of the mortar required for this activity. So we will enter the type of the block, we will choose the type of the block from all these types. By the way, all the types you will insert here, you will find in this list. So you will choose your type of block, you will choose your mortar, thickness of the mortar, and you will add the length and height of the walls for the substructure. And in case if you have any opening in the substructure, you can add it here directly, plus the margin of the block work according to your site condition and your requirement. And this column you will add only here the repetition of this wall. If you have this walls repeated more than one time, you have to change this one to another number. At the end, CMS will give you the area for the block plus all the required mortar plus the block quantities and the required mortar, either it is mix on site or ready mortar by ton. The same CMS will calculate for you the superstructure masonry work. As you see, that's the form of the masonry work for the superstructure. It is the same of substructure, but you have here the location and the floors. You can add it for your reference. You will enter here also the repetition as we mentioned before in the substructure. Of course, you will have to choose all your type of the blocks. And the mix of the block and the thickness, then you will enter the length and the height. If we go for your drawing, it's required now to take all the length and the height for all this block work according to their type. So if we'll talk about the external block work, which may be a thermal block of the 20 centimeter or 30 centimeter, we just choose here the type of the block, and we'll start to enter all the required, all the length of the block, either taking the length direct by the dimension, or to draw a polyline passing for all the required block, have the same shape or the same type. Then enter the length of the polyline direct here. With inserting each type of the block and each wall, you have to enter also the related opening for each wall. And if we are talking about this wall, we can take it direct 3.60 m and insert here the type of the opening. For example, when you add all the lengths of the block work have the same type of the block, we will choose the opening related to these walls for the timber work or for aluminium work or for others. If you go for timber work and try to choose the type of the opening, just choose whatever mentioned in the drawing. For each wall you can choose 3 type of timber work and 3 type of aluminium work. If these 6 cells are not enough, you can add another opening. You can add other opening here in this column. If this length will be repeated for number of floors, you can add the repetition here. The same you will do for all type of the block you have in the project. According to our project, we have external for AAC block with 20 cm. We have external also for AAC block for 10 cm and the internal 10 cm and the internal 20 cm. So according to your project, you will insert all the type of the block work here and try and start to choose them from the type and adding your length and height. Then you will start to insert your opening for each wall as we mentioned before. The same of the margin also you can add it. At the end, the CMS will calculate for you all the area for all types of block, quantity of each type of the block, quantity for the mortar which is mixed on site, and the quantity of the mortar which is ready mixed. At the end, CMS will give you for all the projects all the types of the block quantity, areas, and the quantities, and all the mortars required. By the way, CMS giving you here an illustration informing you about what is how to insert the size of the block itself. The L is the length of the block, the H is the height of the block, the W is the width of the block. Plus, he is giving you also an advantage to calculate all the required accessories for the block, like the ceiling tie or wall tie or the GI mesh, which are repeated according to your project specification. So when you insert a spacing between each ceiling tie and the spacing between all the ties of the wall ties and the spacing between all the GI mesh, the spacing that means each how many layers we will put, but you will calculate it and put it here by centimeters. Then CMS will calculate for you approximate quantity of the block work accessories required in the project. That's why when you are entering the length of the block work, it's better to enter wall per wall, because CMS will consider each length of the wall supported with wall tie. All the information calculated here in the masonry work, the CMS will transfer and reflect in all the project aspect. As we said before, it will be considered in the quantity surveying and the project cost estimation, the cost estimation for each activity and the full budget for the project, and it will be considered also in the scheduling and all the project management. And the material take off. You will find here all the types of the block work, the area and the block quantity, and the required sand and cement and ready mortar and water for each type, and the total at the end. That's for the masonry work quantity surveying, and see you in the next video. Bye.